Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Los and Heath with the MalcoCast. Anthony has a day off, and today we are talking about one of the most important albums in rock history, and that is Nirvana's Nevermind. Heath, let me ask you, where were you back on September 24th of 1991? What were you doing precisely?
Let me think. I was probably a sophomore. Was I a sophomore? Junior. Maybe I was a junior. Junior in high school. Yeah, man. I probably had a flannel tied around my waist
Yeah.
with my Doc Martens on, and you know, I was grunged out. I wish I had a picture. It was awesome.
Yeah.
True story. In our for our senior banquet, one of our teachers, they made up a bunch of like weird awards,
Yeah.
and I got the award of King of Plaid
King of
because I wore a
Plaid.
lot of because I was always wearing like plaid shorts, because that was it back then. Man, it was like plaid shorts and the flannels, and so yeah. No,
So you were,
I was all about grunge. Believe me.
yeah,
Never mind, for sure,
yeah.
for sure. That was one of my faves.
Never mind. So, I guess my experience was a little different because back in '91, I was mostly into rap. But at the same time, I was a bored kid, didn't have much to do, and I always watched MTV. And I can tell you that Smells Like Teen Spirit was on constant rotation on MTV, and that's how I first learned about the band. Did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because the thing, like, it's interesting to think about like music genres and where they start and how they kind of start out. And so like you think about like even glam rock, that kind of started down in LA, and there was kind of that movement, and they all came out of the same area.
Right.
And it was kind of the same for grunge. Grunge started kind of up in Seattle, and that was kind of where it originated at. So it's kind of interesting that it came out of the Pacific Northwest up there, and it's kind of like just all of a sudden it was this big thing. But most definitely Nevermind and Smells Like Teen Spirit had a huge impact on the growth of grunge. I mean, it really put them on the map.
Yeah.
Granted, there were bands that probably started before them. I want to say Soundgarden was around before them, and there were some other bands that never really did necessarily make the mainstream grunge sound. But that sound,
Yeah.
that came out of Seattle was just, I was blown away. Like the minute I heard it, I was all in for sure.
So it's interesting that you bring that up because metal purists really don't like Nevermind, and they say that's because it stole the spotlight pretty much from metal music, right? And
Yeah.
pretty soon they weren't playing any rock videos and on MTV and stuff, and on the radio all you heard was grunge. All you heard was Nirvana and Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, and Pearl Jam. And, it kind of took the spotlight away from metal music. But I think the appeal of it, and everybody has their own opinion about it, is that it wasn't as heavy as metal, but it still rocked. It still
Yeah.
had the guitar sounds that we were all, interested in. But it wasn't as I guess it wasn't like Megadeth or Metallica where there was a heavier edge and the themes were darker. I mean, this was more lighter, I guess. It was grunge, and it was special for that. And so for a guy like me who grew up listening to rap, who was probably listening to rap during that time, it was appealing for me to hear that, and it kind of hooked me into grunge and to other forms of music, including heavy metal. So it kind of pulled me in. It had that effect on me.
Yeah. I mean, the cool part, I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're coming from. But, yes, there was a lot of the glam rock and the arena rock that was around right before grunge.
Yeah.
It was all about partying, girls, having fun. Oh, which is all, having
Yeah.
fun. Great.
Nothing but a good
But
time.
You're right, but I feel like grunge really, when grunge came out, like it hit a different nerve. I feel like it really it struck a chord with people that they could kind of they could relate with it a little bit more. The lyrical content was not necessarily what you were used to hearing. So I
Right.
think that's really where people started to kind of like really get into it. And then I just liked the raw sound. I liked the raw feel. I mean, it felt like these are guys that are just they're jamming in their garage writing songs,
Exactly. Exactly.
and it just had this feel. It was just like it was amazing. I was sold from day one. I mean, whether it was um Nirvana or Alice in Chains or whoever, I loved the angst that was coming out of Seattle.
Hmm.
I seriously, like, literally a few years ago, my wife and I went up to Seattle and did a little trip up there, and it was like my Graceland. I'm going up there and I'm like, oh man, this is
Graceland.
so cool. Just to kind of be in that area and be, around some of that. I want to go back up and spend some more time. I didn't get to see nearly as much as I wanted to, but for sure, I mean, grunge was it literally, like, there's a lot of people that say it killed, a
Yeah.
lot of the hair metal that was out back in that days.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have to agree 100% with that now. Let's talk about some of the track listings here. So many great songs, so many great songs. Obviously, Smells Like Teen Spirit was a song that hooked everyone. But then
Hmm.
Come As You Are was one of these
Yep.
songs that was just like, man, it's like you said, it really pulls you in. It's a relatable song, and it's
Yeah.
it's it's welcoming, right? It's come as
Yeah.
you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend. And it's just like
Hmm.
it's cool to hear that. Then you got Lithium, which is an awesome song. Polly wants a cracker. That was
Yeah.
a good one. I don't. What were your? I guess what were your favorite songs off of that album?
No, actually, Polly was my probably my second favorite. I mean, Smells Like Teen Spirit was just so amazing, but I loved Polly. I honestly, I can't think of a song on that album that I didn't love. Like that's one of those albums that
Right.
literally, even today, I could turn it on and listen to it all the way through, and
Yeah.
it's gonna. Well, number one, it's gonna, all the nostalgia is gonna come rolling back in. But it's so much fun. I love that genre and that era, and it really, I kind of feel like it kind of had such an influence on music to where I look at new metal and I look at, for instance, a band like Korn, and I think about, granted, they're completely different, spectrums,
Yeah.
but I do remember the raw feel that I got from grunge, and then I remember that raw feel the very first time I ever listened to Korn's first album.
Yeah.
Uh, I got the
It was.
same feel. Like I almost had, goosebumps because just the raw feel of the music and the lyrics, the lyrical content, and just the way it was delivered. So, I mean, to me, grunge, I believe, it was such an influential genre. I think
Yeah.
it probably had more influence than it's given credit for.
Another thing is that I think it encouraged people to. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So with glam rock, you had these guys who kind of dressed effeminate and put lipstick on and had these leopard like this wild look, right?
Yeah,
With metal, it was a little bit in thrash metal, especially. You looked
yeah,
more like you had the jeans and the spikes and all of this stuff, the long hair still. But then you
sure.
guys had then grunge came, and it was just like normal looking dudes who you would probably find drinking at a bar or hanging out at a barbecue, or
Hmm.
just these normal guys. So, and there they were playing this incredible music, and it's
Sure.
like, that guy looks just like me. I'm never gonna wear lipstick and wigs and the collars, the dog collars, and all that stuff. I can just wear flannel, get a guitar, and learn three chords, and I'm there. So, you had a lot of musicians inspired by bands like Nirvana who were really kind of making it more accessible to be a rock star. Not that everybody's gonna make it as a rock star, because we all know how that works, but it was more accessible. And sadly, I don't think that they knew how big Nevermind was going to be, and how big they would blow up. It's sadly they Kurt Cobain, what happened to him and all that stuff. It took a toll on him. So there were fun moments to this album, but then there were also these like heavy things that happened because of it.
Yeah, I think it was for those guys that came out of that scene. Again, like we talked about, they were just they were up there just playing music, loving music and writing and recording and playing. And I mean the music scene up there was amazing, and it blew up kind of overnight. And I think that kind of had a like we with obviously with Kurt, it obviously had an impact on him, to the point that he did what he did, and it's unfortunate because I often use Nirvana as an example of this is a band that I would love to see how they would have grown over time. I think about bands like the Rolling Stones and how they've been around since
the 60s,
the Flintstones.
Yeah.
And
the Flintstones.
and but I mean here we are, and I'm thinking to myself, like, where would Nirvana be at this point? I mean, you obviously they were talented musicians. Like, it's funny because I think sometimes people look at grunge and they think, oh, it's just kind of like a different version of punk rock or something like that, because it kind of had that. Sometimes there was a lot of 3-chord stuff going on. Like it was the type of thing to where people sometimes didn't look at it as I don't know, maybe as intricate as music can be. But the thing that was so amazing about the grunge sound is just that they were able to just really just get to where people were at, and where they were, just the feels, right? I mean, when you listen to, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up in it, right? But every time I listen to it, I get nostalgia like crazy. But I love I just love the fact that it had this influence on music to me forever. Like, I think we're always going to look at grunge, even as short of a period of time as it may have been. Like, literally, like now you don't hear about grunge bands, but it had an influence. It had an impact forever.
And here, I mean, it's interesting you said that, because here 30 years later, I still see Nirvana shirts everywhere. People still wear them, and on young kids too, because young kids are listening to it too. So let me hit you with some fun facts about Nevermind. Kind of get your reaction to these. These are from Loudwire. It's an article entitled 20 Things You Didn't Know About Nirvana's Nevermind. So the first one, the baby boy on the cover of Nevermind was almost a girl. Nevermind cover photographer Kirk Weddle did 2 shoots and really liked the photograph he took with a baby girl. But the band's record label insisted, we want D-I-C-K. Number 2, Nirvana refused to support the Guns N' Roses Metallica Stadium tour. Axl Rose personally requested Nirvana, and I'm not going to read all these, but Axl Rose personally requested Nirvana support on the 92 trek after Nevermind hit it big, but Kurt Cobain refused, saying of Guns N' Roses, they're really talentless people and they write crap music. I think Anthony might agree with that, because Anthony doesn't like Guns N' Roses. But anyways, let's read one more, and I'll link this article to the description of this video, just so that you guys can see it yourselves. But Nevermind was originally titled Sheep. The title was a Cobain manifesto on conformity, and Nevermind isn't even a real word. Never space mind, 2 separate words, is grammatically correct. So there you go. There's some fast facts about Nevermind. But anyways, guys, I mean, we want to know from you, what are your memories of Nirvana's Nevermind? What are your songs? Did grunge kill metal? We want to know that. And we want to know if you're still listening to Nirvana in 2021. Heath?
Yeah, no, I like I said, I'm a fan. That was definitely an influential album for me as a kid, and just getting into music. That was about the time I started playing music. So I love it.
Yeah,
I love
no,
that album.
I love it too, man. I love it too, and we just have to say happy birthday to Nevermind,
That's right.
and
30 years.
30
Good.
years, man. Blink gone in
Seriously?
the blink of an eye.
Wow.
Anyways, guys, we will see you next time on the MalcoCast. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and throw us a comment. And until the next one, we will see you on the MalcoCast. Peace.